Welcome back for another Sins of a Solar Empire 2 video. Today is patch day for the new reinforcements patch. Today we are going to look at the Vasari Alliance new super capital ship, the Sularkon Tyrant. This is a new ship in the warfare research tree right next to our Titan, and you get it in tier 4, and it'll be fun to figure this one out. So you can build 3 of them max, unlike a Titan, which you can build only 1 of, and these each cost 100 supply. They come with a durability of 600. Titan, I believe, comes with 750. Yep, Titan comes with 750. So this is a nice bump up from the 500 on the Capitals, but not over the top like the Titans at 750. To start with, it comes with 6630 shield points, 3120 armor points, and 9600 hull points, antimatter of 450, and I believe it comes with 2 squadrons of fighters. Nope, 3 strike crafts. It does have 12 heavy wave cannons, 6 heavy beams, and 12 point defense pulse guns. This makes this one of the higher damage ships that we have in this game, so quite good. It does have 1 bombardment beam of 9 DPS and kills 0.33 population per second. Now we'll look real quick at the weapons here, and I know that this is in the eye chart, and I don't expect anyone to really look through this. But what we're going to key in on is those heavy wave cannons, because there are 3 wave cannons on the back here, and if you look very closely at them, it's this purple and green arc here. So these wave cannons on this fin on the back shoot backwards only. There's a matching pair, or a matching trio of wave cannons on the back over here. So when it comes to looking at your wave cannon damage in a straight line, you're only getting 6 forward. However, the beams all can shoot forward, so you're getting full damage on those beams. So in total, you are getting 72 DPS at 300 pierce forward on the heavy wave cannons. You then get an additional 72 damage on towards the rear, essentially, and it's almost completely rear facing. It's this one here that goes and sweeps around the entire side. So this can shoot at stuff as it's being chased, or as it's passing through some ships. You kind of want it in the middle anyway, which we'll talk about when we get to the skills. And then as far as point defense goes, they are all over this ship. And there are, I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4 that are just rear facing. I believe it's 4 that are forward facing, and 4 that are only forward facing, and then 4 that are essentially 360 degrees around the ship. So it gets quite significant point defense on this ship. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to talk about before I move on to levels. So we'll go to the next one. The fully leveled up shield and armor points. This next one, this ship is fully leveled, has all of the warfare research for everything on the Alliance. So this is as high as you can get at level 1. For the most part, you're probably going to have a lot of the stuff already in tier 3 once you get to the point where you're building this. And as far as tier 4 goes, there's a bunch of extra hull you get, a bunch of extra regen, some extra armor points, armor strength, and then more max shield at this point. But otherwise, for the most part, you're going to have tier 1, 2, and 3 stuff by the time you get here. So the level 1, just real quick, has 6330 shield. This one is 9,220. armor points of 4,525 versus the smaller 3,120. Hidden armor is 141 versus 90, so a nice little bump there. Hull points of 13,635 versus 9,600. And if we're going to compare those, because it does have 100. Oh, I forgot to talk max speed. Max speed is 600. 600 matches our current slowest capital ship, so it's not really, it's not something that we're adverse to already handling. Versus the Titan, this one is 9925 in shield. This one's only about 700 behind. Armors has 4875 versus 4525, which is only 300 smaller. Armor strength is tied at 141. Hull is about, what is that, 3,000 higher on the Titan. And then as far as bombers and fighters, the Titan comes with 2 base, and we already talked about the new Super Capital comes with 3 base. And then when we get to a level 10 Titan, or a level 10 Super Capital, we're talking 13,870 shield points, 6,810 armor points. Let's see, so it would be these two. So 9,000 to 13,000. So it's a nice almost 4,500 increase in shield points. It is a armor point increase of about 2,300 or so. Armor strength also goes up to 195, and then hull points is a staggering 24,555 versus a level 10 Titan. We're a little bit more than 2,000 smaller in shield points. Armor, you actually surpass the Titan with armor points and have the same armor strength. And then for hull, you are about 5,000 short of the Titan, so still quite good. And then your heavy wave cannons, and I didn't look at this in the first place, so it goes from 12 to 29.2 to 30. We'll round it up to 31 on there, so 31, and then like I said, 6 forward-facing ones, so 31 times 6 is going to get you to, would that be 186 DPS forward and 186 DPS backwards on just the wave cannons, which is pretty good. The beams go from 10 to, we'll say 15, and then 15 to 25, and this is with no items. And then pulse weapons go from 4.5 to 6.4, and then all the way up to 11.1. So quite good on that. Oh, I have the wave modulator on here because the game took over for me. Did it do this on other ones? Okay, good. So 12 to 18 on the heavy wave cannon, and then 18 to 31. So quite good. Next, we will go over the skills. Now, the way that the skills work on these super capitals now is you get 5 levels of skill 1, skill 2, or skill 3, and the ship maxes out at 10 levels. So at this point, you essentially would have, what would it be, 17 total skills to max it out, but you only get 10 levels. So you're going to have to either specialize one of them or specialize all of them so that you are getting exactly what you want out of this ship. The first skill is Nano culling. I'll skip to level 10 so I can play with the levels. Cooldown of 45 seconds at base, goes from 45 to 42, and then loses 3 seconds per level. And I believe that that's going to get us to 30 seconds cooldown with the duration that goes from 12 seconds to 27 seconds. So this nano culling is going to be extremely uptime, especially if you get even 1 level of cooldown and phase resonance. You're basically constantly having this up. The damage, it does damage to anything in the area and I believe it's just when you cast it. It's not a channeled ability like the new Progenitor Shield Restore, where if something moves into range while you're using it, that it does damage. I believe it is only the instant you cast it, very similar to the Repair Cloud on the Skrantra, if you're familiar with that one. So default damage is 18 damage per second at 420 Pierce, and it goes all the way up to 33 damage per second for 27 seconds. Do a real quick calculation. I should have had this ready to go. So 33 damage per second times 27 seconds. It's about 900 damage without taking into account the target hull damaged. So if the ship that you have hit Nano culling with gets its hull points below, in this case I believe it starts, it starts at 81 and scales up all the way up to 96. So basically if you get through shield or armor on this ship, it essentially multiplies the damage that you're doing to the ships by five times. So it goes all the way up to 150 damage per second just for getting into enemy hull. And if we do that one real quick, that one goes up real high. That's 4,000 damage. So as I see it, Vasari essentially will kill any subcap or any frigate and most cruisers if they get through shield and through armor to get to this point. So very, very significant damage. As far as range, we can see our range is here. It is it's just outside the range of our ship, which I think is probably best. So if you can attack something with any of your weapons, you can also hit it with Nano culling. If I recall correctly, something like Nano culling, I believe, has a minimum of 5 targets if you leave it on autocast. So autocast is at least smart enough to wait till more than one ship is in range, but if it's less than 5, it does not cast on its own, and you would have to manually cast it. It will not wait for a larger group, however, so again, that would be another reason to wait before you use it. As I can see here, there's no cap on the number of units that can be hit by it, so this is a quite significant damage to any, I would even say most capitals. Receiving 4,000 damage is a pretty big deal. Yeah, that's half of the hull here on the level 1 unbuffed Tyrant. So quite significant. The second skill is Terrorize. It has a 60-second cooldown, which it looks like it's 6-second reduction per level, which would get it to 30-second cooldown instead. A duration that scales up from 42 seconds to 72 seconds. So you actually have this skill up twice as often as you can use it. So the duration, or so what it does is it's a ability antimatter cost. It casts this on enemy capital ships, and essentially their abilities now cost extra antimatter just to cast them. And then any time that they take damage, or any time that they use a skill, they also take hull damage. So that gets you 120, scales up to 210, and has 600 Pierce. So as I see it, what the idea is with Terrorize is you're supposed to cast it on an enemy ship to get them to increase their antimatter cost, which I think is more of a secondary thing than it is a than anything else. Oh, and we didn't even look at the range. So this is our range. I want to see what the range is. Yeah, it's still 30,000 or 30,000. So this range is almost across an entire gravity well. So it increases the cost of antimatter used when something gets cast, and then it does hull damage per ability used. So if we're talking something like, trying to think of one that's a good one, Radiance. Let's say Radiance has all 3 skills available between Detonate, Antimatter, and Animosity. We'll just look at those 2. It's going to take a little bit shy of 600 damage, would this be 540 damage? And that 540 damage may actually get it into the target hull range of Nano culling. Just by getting into that range, you now increase your damage of Nano culling by 500%. So these 2 skills, I would say, go completely in tandem. And what you'll want to do is cast Terrorize on something that you know is going to be casting a lot. Good choices for that would be something like the Cole Battleship. It could be the Marza. Definitely the Dunoff, because that's just a caster. Sova would not be a good choice. And am I forgetting one on the tech? Yeah, I am. The Akon. Akon's not a very good choice on this one because it only has really 1 cast. And then on the Advent, the Progenitor might be a good choice just because you're going to drain its antimatter that much quicker, and B, that that shield regen is up fairly quickly, so that might be a good choice. The Halcyon might be a good choice because if it's using Telekinetic Push and Anima Tempest in quick succession, or even just the Shield Ultimate, it may be using all 3 of those skills in succession, and you would do quite a bit of damage. What would that be? Just shy of 300. It'd be 810 damage, which absolutely gets you in range of Nano culling. And I think you'll just chew through the shields that the enemy ship has at that point. So that one's a nice one. The 3rd skill is Recursive Regeneration. Now, this is a self skill. So if I level it up, which I don't think I can, I don't think I have too many points. Yeah. So it is a self skill. It's essentially a passive. Anytime the Tyrant uses one of its own skills, you increase your shield restore rate by up to 60 shields per second. You can stack it 3 times, and it lasts for, I believe it was, what did that go from? 45, yeah, 45 seconds at 30 to 60 per second at 60 seconds. So you essentially would have 180 shields restored per second for up to a minute if you can get all the stacks going here, which that's, in my opinion, that's quite significant. And if that's the case, you're probably only going to be leveling these 2 just to reduce cooldowns. You want Nano culling to 36. It's this cooldown's 45. So I would argue you probably want Nano culling on maxed on 1, and then up to level 4, maybe even level 5 on just 1 ship. So this would be your 1 choice as max here, and max Recursive Regeneration. Make it be your tanky one. Then you have 1 in the back, I'm going to say, that's sniping with Terrorize. And you might even have 2 that are sniping with Terrorize in the back. And then you're also getting the Subversion Grid, which we'll get to that one shortly. So Subversion Grid is a channeled ability. Has a 2-minute cooldown, antimatter cost of 156, and a 90-second duration at level 1. And it looks like it just doubles the effect. So this is a gravity well wide ability, and you channel while you do it. So you cannot do damage, you cannot shoot, you cannot move, and if it's on autocast, it starts to work as soon as you get into a gravity well. But what this skill does is all enemy units at a planet, I believe that also includes other super capitals. It might also include Titans. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done enough testing on it yet. But you channel for 90 seconds, and at the beginning of the channel, you are only doing this initial max ability range, the initial max weapon range, the initial cooldown, and the initial reload. And over 54 seconds, you scale up all the way to 24% or 48% on all of those. So it is quite a significant range reduction on abilities. It's a significant weapon range reduction. Causes a bunch of stuff to have to get closer and closer to your ships, which in my opinion brings them in closer to something like nano culling. And then it also increases the skill cooldown on everything. And then more importantly, it increases the weapon reload. And then you've got essentially, what would that be? 36 seconds where you have the maximum buff applied to the entire gravity well. So I'm going to grab this really quick and unpause it and hit it. And it's got this nice big bright, yeah, that's a big one. I've got these ships are enemy, so it's got this nice big red cross essentially that comes out of each of the wings of the ship. So it's very, very obvious that you're using this skill to everyone in the gravity well. It's these big orange, yellow, whatever you want to call it, skills that show it's active. And you can see you've got a I've got a stack here, so we've got one stack of regeneration. We've got this stacking on all the ships. This one's going to get negative, and this is how it starts. Is it's going to be right here. It's got Terrorize active on it. It's got all the weapon reloads on it, and it just skills continuously. Now you do only get 2 points in Subversion Grid. I believe you get 1 point at 5 and then 1 point at 10. I'm going to guess most of us aren't getting to level 10 on these ships. Actually, I just want to double check before I say something wrong. Level 1. No, we don't get it till 6. So we get it at 6 and 10, where I think that that's what we should be aiming for these ships. All right, we'll talk items really quick. So you'll notice that there are no phase missiles anywhere on this ship, and phase missiles are completely blocked off. There's no way to actually get them. This ship has all of the same consumables, all of the same weapon upgrades, all of the same defensive upgrades that we can get on any of our other capital ships. And then what's unique is you see these 3 utility ship items over here. The gravity stabilizer, antimatter. So what we do get is we get the mobile Xeno embassy, which gives you the ability to call in minor factions. I don't know if it's going to give it to me. All right. So, yeah, it's not going to show it to me. But 18 AU is basically, I think, from here to about this planet. So if there's additional planets, it's going to be about 3 planets away. So you can use minor factions to call in stuff like the send phase space raids. You can call in the protection fleets. You could call in the actually, I think that's pretty much it. But you can use that to call in or to get additional points, which we are the influence point faction, I would say, in the game. Those 3 additional points may bump you up to something like Tachyon Boost or something if you haven't invested too heavily in it. But it's it looks like it's just a metal and crystal cost. It doesn't look like there's an exotic on it, so it's pretty reasonable for what you're paying for it. Utility, you can get a 3-point culture rate on this ship to constantly be spreading our culture. Now, for those of us that don't remember, we get factory build time, we take reduced planet bombing damage, we get, that's more culture rate, factory build time on our own ships, and friendly damage reduction. So while it will get culture, what it's mostly going to do is it's going to push enemy culture away. So if you have someone like an Advent Wrath who's trying to push culture on you, they have to have more than a 3 culture rate plus whatever other culture rate you have at this facility. Or if you have a tech who's got, I think is it primacy or is it both? Where if they've got extra commerce or extra trade ports, I can't remember what it is. If they have a certain number of other things present in their gravity wells or a certain number of levels on their planets, they get culture off of that. So this is really, I would say, a reactionary purchase more than anything else, because we would use this as a pushback of enemy culture more than we care about spreading our own culture. Now, it might not be a bad idea if you don't have any other culture anywhere else, and let's say you are losing a culture battle, but you want to bring it to a certain spot. Maybe it's not a horrible idea, but I think this is more a reactionary purchase than it is a required item on this ship. And then this one's I would say, the most unique one. It's the phase gate restoration, and essentially we can turn our Tyrant into a mobile phase gate. So what this allows us to do is, let's say you've got your home planet and you use your entire home planet for your production facilities and nothing else. And you didn't put any other production facilities anywhere else. If you plop a phase gate down on your home planet and then you put the phase gate on your Tyrant, then you can warp ships to it. It also, I believe, friendly jump telemetry. If you own the gravity well that it's in, you'll get bonus jump speed. And just so you know, it's not, if you take control of a planet and something's already warped, you don't get the phase jump speed mid-warp. The ship has to start the phase jump as you own the planet. So this is unique. It does cost a core, what is it? Why am I blanking at Cornium? So it is expensive, but I think it's strong enough and unique enough, and gives us so many options of how we would want to structure our buildings and production facilities everywhere on the map, that we could very quickly call in many ships from a lot of different places if we're in the middle of a fight and start losing things. So I'm going to say that this is actually probably as close a comparison as Resurrection is on Advent Reborn, that will get us to the ability to replenish fleets extremely quickly, even if they have to go a decent amount of distance. Now, as far as what I personally prefer to build on this ship, is, like I said, culture rate I think is a special case, and you need to decide if you're trying to push something like Advent Wrath or Advent Reborn culture off of a planet. There are certain abilities that both of those factions can't use if they lose culture dominance in a gravity well. I believe it's Chastise on Wrath, and I might be forgetting one. And I actually can't remember what it is on Reborn. It's been such a long time since I've seen anybody using the Unity points on it. Phasic Comms Net Restoration. React to it as needed, but I would not say it's a mandatory item. Mobile Xeno Embassy. You probably only need one. So if you're going to field all 3 of the Tyrants, my recommendation is you probably only need one, just because you're actually more using it for calling minor factions in than you are getting the additional influence. For those that don't know, influence increases based on the number of planets that you have culture in. So this will actually increase based on a number of different things. And in the Empire tree, the Xeno settlement gives us an extra 12%. Every planet you own with culture gets you, I think, 3%. And then if you can find any of these planets, it's the looks like the city planet and the ocean and desert and primordial and Terran. If you can get this down, this gives you additional recharge rate and also 3 points. But we get just for free. We get one to, I think it's one to start with, plus 2 more is 3, plus 3 more is 6, and then this gets us to 9. So this already gets us to 9 just getting here, and you'll be a tier ahead because you need Cornium just to even build these ships. So this one I think is probably just a one-time purchase on one of the ships to get the minor faction range. And then you got 2 choices, I think, on how you want to build it the rest of the way. So I would say if you're going with a nano cull build, you probably also, excuse me, want all of the, or you want the defenses. You want phase attenuated shield, you want self-repairing armor, and you want gravity stabilizer to get you in quicker. As I already said, this is a 600 max speed ship. Getting additional max speed for our faction either requires you have a marauder, or you've gone deep into the mobility tree, or you grab the gravity stabilizer. So I would say this is probably one you do want along with the 2 defenses. And if you're going to get close into culling range, you're using both nano culling and recursive regeneration most likely on the ship that's doing the culling, whereas 1 or 2 stay back and do terrorize things. So for the one that's going in, 1, 2, 3, and then probably these 2 weapons. So I'm going to get, real quick, I'm going to purchase those. And, alright, so versus we go from 31 DPS to 50.8. Did I have this leveled all the way? I do. So we get to 50.8 times 6, so you're doing 300 DPS with just your heavy wave cannon. Your beams, I'm calculating, oh, I'm calculating it right. Beams, I'm going to turn this on. You have another 300 DPS with 500 pierce on the heavy beams. So you're doing significant beam damage, you're doing significant heavy wave cannon, plus you're doing the nano culling, plus you're regenning with the shields, and then you've got 2 ships in the back using Terrorize to snipe capital ships, which then get them into nano culling range so that they can take more damage, and then they might even be using Subversion grid here to force them all to be close enough that they can get hit by nano culling. So I think that's pretty much it. So you're a walking 600 DPS ship at this point. That's quite tanky. That I'm going to say is decently fast. And trying to think if there's anything else you would want on it. You might want inertial anchor if nothing else can really take it. It actually is probably a good candidate for any artifacts that you find, whether it's the damage one, whether it's the move speed one, whether it's the tankier one, especially the tankier one, where you get, I think it's additional hull or something like that. Throw that on here as well. And then for minor factions, I don't have them all unlocked, so I'm going to try to remember them. The Armored Citadel would be a good one to grab at the very end if it's about to die. For those that don't know, crippled hull matches your hull points. So let's say you're level 1, you have 13,000 hull points already. Because we are a Vasari faction, those hull points are constantly regenning, the shield points are constantly regenning. If you have self-repairing armor on it, the armor is also regenerating while you're taking that damage. You toss the extra hull on, and instead of having 13,000 hull points to go through, you have 26,000 hull points to get through. So it will essentially take forever for these ships to kill it, and you're going to have to either stun lock it or get stuck essentially getting phased out or slowed or lots of other things just to kill it in that gravity well. Ones that I don't have pictured is the bonus experience and the 20% cooldown reduction. I would say the cooldown reduction is a very valid choice for, I think, probably all three. If you're fielding three of these at a time, I think all three could benefit from the bonus experience and the bonus cooldown. Jump field stabilizer. This would be a good one. As you can see here, you can use it to jump out of phase jump inhibitor planets. So if you jump in somewhere where you know it's a losing fight, and you're okay with sacrificing the rest of your fleet in order to save this one, you can grab this real quick, throw it on a ship, and then just jump it out. And then you don't have to really think about or worry about it. Tachyon boost is fantastic. You always want Tachyon boost. If you can get it, I think it's a 50% bonus to max speed. And as I've said before, Tech gets really good access to speed improvements. We do in the Marauder, we do in Phase Resonance, and we do with our gravity stabilizer. But those are really the only three places we get it. So grabbing Tachyon boost for a gravity well where you're fighting can get you into range to use some of these abilities and do extra damage. And then Phase Resonance. The mobility one. So I've always been, if you've seen my videos before, I'm a stickler on not wanting to get the phase jump speed. I don't think phase jump speed, in my opinion, is a very strong ability. When you grab Phase Resonator, I think you only get like 120 seconds to jump or to keep these buffs. So you have to make it across a gravity well with a 600 move speed ship in 120 seconds to even get access to the bonus phase jump speed. Now, I personally think phase jump speed is only good if you are chasing someone that you already know you can beat. But otherwise, I don't think phase jump speed is a valuable tool, especially when you essentially cut off your phase jump speed from 8 seconds to 6 seconds just by getting this. And then if you're jumping within your own system, you more than double your phase jump speed to friendly planet. So it's my opinion that phase jump speed just isn't a great stat. Max speed, however, I do think is a good stat. 6% move speed gets you, what is that, another 36 move speed on this ship. And then 18 gets, let's see, what would that be? 10 gets you another 110 move speed, gets you up to 710. And then if you get another 18 with a Marauder, you can get to about 800 move speed or so. So pretty quick if you can get all the way to max speed. Combat, I think combat will be pretty good on this ship eventually if you can go all the way up to tier 5. The reload, the damage, and we don't care about the phase missile bypass, but it's really for other ships more than it is for us. So weapon reload, weapon damage would be good, especially for the one Tyrant that you have going in to do the Nano culling damage to a ship. And then utility, there's absolutely no way you can go wrong with utility. Any bit of antimatter cost reduction, and then definitely on cooldown, is going to make the ship that much better. Especially if you can start, where did I have my culling one? If you can start getting nano cullings on cooldown, you're gonna just blow through small frigate and cruiser fleets like it's nothing. This may even do a lot of extra damage to capital ships. It'll be interesting to test it. It's got 420 Pierce, and I believe that the damage initially is done to the shields, then the armor, and then the hull. But if you can stack Terrorize stacks on stuff, then taking that hull damage, getting it below the threshold to use nano culling is going to do a lot of damage to those ships. And I think that's it. To pair it with ships, I think the Marauder is going to be the best friend of this ship. Um, and for the most part, I'm going to say that once you get to the point where you can field these, you're going to want to field these over a Chordal Devastator. You're going to want to field this over any additional evacuators. And I would say the oh, why am I blanking on what it's called? The Skirmisher. Is that what it's called? I don't have any buildings. The Scarantra. Sorry, the Scarantra. You're going to want to stack Scarantras with this. Bombers did get buffed in this patch, so you have to be careful about enemy bomber fleets coming in and fighting you and doing a lot of extra damage because they do have 400 Pierce now for all factions. So be careful of bombers. You'll want to pair it with a Scarantra and probably run either fighters yourself or bombers yourself and try and snipe capital ships with them. But definitely have at least one Marauder, if not two. And then you're probably going to want some Desolators in your fleet just because you're going to want the Desolators to help kill other enemy super capital ships. Because if they get phase missile damage through, that means that they're getting through the armor. If they're getting through armor, then the shields don't matter. And if you chew through the shields with Nano culling, then that armor gets exposed. You can do the additional damage to the armor. If you get Terrorize stacks on things, then you can get the hull down so that it's that much more beatable. Do I have Terrorize on here? So I think Terrorize is this red buff. And then the Subversion grid, I think, is this orange one all the way around it. So I'm very curious to see what this does. Very, very curious. So that's the ship. I think it's going to be an extremely good ship for us. I think for the most part this is going to remain. We'll see what they decide to do with any balancing updates or changes to skills and whatnot in the near patches. I know that people are going to be testing them regularly. I know that the PvP community is going to very much provide input to see how strong these are. And again, I'm looking forward to using it, and I'm looking forward to your guys' comments on this as well. So next video, hopefully either it's going to be some gameplay, and I'm going to try and get to the tyrants themselves, or maybe I'm going to do another video of the new Advent Wrath super capital ship. So thanks everyone. Hope you have a good one, and hopefully see you in some games soon.